So this was a fun week. We found out our site placement, and yeah, but there was also some hiccups, we'll say. Yeah, so Monday we went to the Panama Canal, which I had already been to when I came to Panama last year. Just kind of learned about like Panama-U.S. relations and the history of it, which was interesting. Got my language results, so I'm now intermedio medio, which is what I need to swear in, which is good. So yeah. What else did we do? Yeah, so there's a lot of like U.S. Panama stuff and whatnot. Yeah. And which is an interesting history and has sparked me to start reading a Panama history book to kind of learn more about it. Yeah. So on Tuesday we had what we thought was going to be our last Spanish class before site announcement, but don't worry, you'll get to why it wasn't. We also learned about like housing stuff and like what's required for our host families' houses in our communities, and also what in our future houses will be required as far as safety and security goes in order for a house to be approved. And yeah, then we also learned about like how they do site matching and why they do what they do, and like how they pick out sites and stuff. And then we talked about like Tech Week, pluses, minuses, struggles, which you already know my struggles. And then also talked about water committees and why they're important in this country, and how they function, and what the government's role is within them. So, at the end of this day, our PM, Karina, we were supposed to be finding out our sites on Wednesday. At the end of this day, she was like, oh, let's do a breathing exercise, because like the day before had been like the eclipse or whatever, and she was like some like nonsense about, oh, the lunar or the solar eclipse has got us all out of whack, so we need to do all this stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. So it's breathing exercises and meditation and stuff, so we went along with it. At the end of it, she explains to us that we are not finding out our sites the next day. I had this like momentary thought where I was like, oh, we're finding out now, because like we're all super excited. It's like bid day in sorority land, you know? There's no sorority, so that's applicable for me. You know, you sit there, you like spend the whole week of recruitment, and on both sides of it, like when I was, you know, pledging, I was like, ooh, who am I gonna get matched up with? This is what I said I wanted, but like, where am I really gonna go? You know, type of a thing. And then on the other side of it, like, ooh, we've said we want these people, but who will we really get? You know, things like that. So, yeah. So in doing all of this, it's very exciting. Like, everybody wants to know where they're going in the country, because like that tells you more about like what kind of work you're going to be doing, and like it makes it real. So my instantaneous thought is, we're finding out today. But no, she explains that we're not going to find out tomorrow, but rather we're going to find out on Thursday, which was a heartbreaking moment for all of us, because we were all super excited. We all wanted to know. We were all like really just kind of done with everything. We just wanted to know, because like we had known that they knew for like over a week. So man, the anticipation building. And I won't go into all the details of why, because it's just a long drawn out story that involves a lot of people. But essentially there was an issue with the other group. So like our group is divided into two sectors, SAS and WASH. I'm WASH. So there was an issue with the SAS group, and that wouldn't be resolved in time for us to do site announcement. So we got pushed back a day, which made Wednesday the day that we all thought, oh, we're not having Spanish class, because like the people who are going to indigenous sites that like they were supposed to be starting Noberi classes on Thursday and whatnot. And so we were all just like, oh, where, you know, what are we gonna do now? Because like no one wants to sit through another Spanish class, especially when you've resigned yourself to the fact that like we're not doing that anymore. Especially the people who like, you know, felt fairly confident they're going to a Noberi site, like, or a Nobe site, like, they want all, because there's already like only like 6 days of Nobe classes. So if you take away one, that only leaves them with 5. So, you know, it's substantial in the world of language learning. But yeah, so Wednesday was kind of a struggle. No one wanted to be in the community. We all had like pre-set up our expectations that we were going to be finding out our sites, and we weren't. And there was some also like just like feelings of anger and struggling and just like, yeah. So that afternoon we were supposed to have, well, we did have tech classes, but like you could tell like our training team wasn't into it, we weren't into it, we were all just like, we just do not want to be here. I mean, we learned about the stuff we needed to, and like they had to like rearrange the schedule just because of like the change-ups and everything, but it was still just like not what we were wanting to do. But it ended up being a fine day, and whatnot. It was kind of like, you could tell no one's heart was in it that day. But Thursday, we did not get pushed back any further, which is good, because I'm pretty sure if they had told us that we were going to go back another day, there would have been a revolt, or like a revolution of some kind, and people would like charge the office with pitchforks. Not that we have pitchforks, but that's just like what came to mind. But yeah, so yeah, and that's like my thought process. But yeah, so Thursday was a fun day. Luckily, they're smart enough to know that we would not be able to focus if they put it in the afternoon, so they put it in the morning, which is good, because we were already like on edge, wanting to know anyway. But they did it in a really cool way. So they like laid out this map of Panama. When I say laid out, I mean they like taped a map of Panama on the floor, and it had all the sites listed that were going to be in each province and whatnot. Which for Wash, there are 3 provinces we were going to: Cocle, Comarca no Bugle, and Bocas del Toro. And then there was like 2 other provinces for the SAS people. But yeah, so they had all the names, so like we're just like perusing, like we don't really know who's going where, or whatever. But they also had this map on the front of, or they had like just like a poster map with like all the site names listed up, and then like when we got our site, we get to put our face on the map. So yeah, which was kind of anticlimactic for the SAS Wash couple, because they had a green and a blue arrow pointing at the same community, and we're like, oh, we know where you're going, and whatnot. But for everybody else, it was fun. But yeah, so basically, like, they would draw a random name out of the community, or like community name / person's name out of the bowl, and then that person would get their site and whatnot, and then it would like tell them like what province they're going to, and then you get to put your name on or your face on the map. And then once everybody went through all of this, then we all stood on the map with our little, like the one that was on the floor, and got to see like who our provincial neighbors are, which neighbors is a loose term, okay? Because on that map, the closest person to me is like 2 hours away. Granted, in real life, there's like 2 volunteers within about 30 minutes of me, but they're just like different sectors and different groups. So this was just showing our group and whatnot. But I am in Cocle, I'm in which is the province, and I am in the town of Guabal. It's my site, and it's about an hour from Penanome. Don't ask me which direction, because I don't know, because directions are not like physical north, south, east, west directions. Not my thing. I just know it takes me an hour by Jiva to get here. Yeah. So there are about 500 people in my community and about 80 houses. They have 2 aqueduct systems and 2 functioning water committees, which is important. And while they have 2 aqueduct systems, there are still people not on the system, as well as there are like leaks and damages to the existing aqueduct systems, and there's also, of course, like behavior change stuff to work on and like some other things. I've heard tell that there's some people without latrines, but I have yet to see that, so I don't know. We'll find out. And whatnot. Yeah. And yeah, so side announcement day was fun. We also learned about we like met our regional leaders, because each province has an RL, and you have like regional meetings every 4 months, and you like one of your first like give a 1-month visit with them and then a 9-month visit with them, where they come and like check on you, make sure everything's fine. And so we got to meet them. We also talked about like how to maintain like good mental health while in your service and what strategies we can use. Yeah. So I mean, all in all, it's a really good day. Enjoyed finding out my site, learning a little more about it. Could get like a packet with like information about it and everything. And yeah, so it's a really fun time. Yeah, so on Friday we cooked in our Spanish class. We cooked arroz con pollo and plantains, and we made like a coleslaw thing. And yeah, so we did that in our Spanish class. And then in the afternoon we met with like, so in Santa Clara there's no actual water committee. They're hooked up to like the national system. It's called IDAN. And whatnot, so it functions a little bit differently. So we like talked with them to kind of work on some of our PACA stuff for our analysis for Santa Clara, and just in general, or talked about like what it's like to be a new versus a follow-up volunteer, what it's like to be an engineer versus a generalist, and also what it's like to be versus a man versus a woman in each community. So I'm a first volunteer. So what that means is like, so in Peace Corps Panama, typically it's a 3-person cycle in each community, which means there's your first, second, and third person solely in one community. There's only ever going to be 3. There are a few exceptions, but usually there's only going to be 3 volunteers in one community. And so I'm the first, which means they've heard of Peace Corps, obviously, because they solicited a Peace Corps volunteer, but it doesn't mean they really truly know what my role is or truly know what they want, and whatnot. And so yeah, each volunteer still has to do like analysis and things like that, but like where they may be at within the continuum is going to be different. So yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about that and what that's like. And yeah, I also got ice cream, which is pretty great. Yeah, and then Saturday went to the city, where I got to use the Wi-Fi because I found an internet cafe that Elizabeth's friend Mike had told me about, which was really nice, and I was able to do a lot of computer work and like Skype and talk to people and whatnot. I also went to the post office to try and get my package from my parents, because I was told that my package was in the country, but I could not get it from the office, so I had to go because it was like wrongly labeled or something, and I need to go to the post office to pick it up in person, blah blah blah. I get there, And they're like, oh no, we sent out all the packages yesterday. I'm like, yeah, but they told me that you had mine because it was labeled wrong. And they're like, oh no, we sent it out yesterday. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, we'll see if it actually shows up. Yeah. And then Sunday, just kind of hung out. Didn't do too much. Just kind of hung out with my host family. Not really doing too much. Oh yeah, and also Saturday we had a birthday party for another volunteer or another aspirante, because apparently a lot of people have birthdays during training. But yeah, the exciting of this week was finding out our sites. So next week we actually go visit our sites, so that's gonna be fun. So stay tuned to see how site visit goes, because from past experience from other volunteers, it's not always good. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, have fun.